In the bustling heart of Los Angeles, where dreams soar and shatter daily, a moment of pure humanity was about to unfold. A tired single mother clutches her daughter's hand, their faces reflecting a mix of hunger and hope as they approach a crowded restaurant. The crisp evening air carries the aroma of freshly baked bread and simmering sauces. But for Sarah and her 6-year-old Emily, this special celebration is about to turn into a nightmare. The manager's cold stare, a declined credit card, and whispers from other diners paint a scene of crushing disappointment. But fate had other plans. Through the restaurant's gleaming doors walks an unexpected guardian angel, Keanu Reeves, dressed in his signature black jacket, observing the unfolding drama with quiet intensity. What happens next leaves the entire restaurant speechless, transforms lives forever, and proves that sometimes heroes don't wear capes. They just happen to be dining alone on a Tuesday evening. This is a story of dignity, compassion, and how a single act of kindness can ripple through countless lives. The small family restaurant Bella's Bistro sits nestled between towering office buildings in downtown Los Angeles. Its warm golden light spill onto the sidewalk, creating an inviting glow against the darkening California sky. Inside, the aroma of garlic and fresh herbs mingles with the soft chatter of early evening diners, their conversations forming a gentle backdrop to the clink of silverware and glasses. Sarah Martinez hurries down the street, her weathered handbag clutched tightly under one arm, while her other hand holds her daughter Emily's small fingers. Her waitress uniform peeks out from beneath her worn jacket. She hasn't had time to change after her double shift at the diner across town. But today isn't about tired feet or mounting bills. Today is special. Emily bounces beside her, pride radiating from her round face as she hugs her backpack close, protecting the precious A-plus math test inside. At 32, Sarah carries the weight of single motherhood in the slight slump of her shoulders and the worry lines around her eyes. Since Emily's father walked out 3 years ago, she's worked 2 jobs, juggling shifts between Emily's school hours. Their tiny one-bedroom apartment above the laundromat isn't much, but Sarah has made it home, filling it with Emily's artwork and the sound of their shared laughter. Bella's Bistro isn't their usual kind of place. The white tablecloths and crystal wine glasses speak of prices well beyond Sarah's typical budget. But Emily has been begging to try their famous spaghetti and meatballs ever since they started walking past it on their way to school. Sarah has saved for weeks, tucking away tips dollar by dollar, determined to give her daughter this one special evening. As they pause outside the restaurant's elegant facade, Sarah straightens Emily's favorite blue dress, a thrift store treasure they discovered last month. Emily's dark curls are neatly braided, tied with ribbons that match her dress. Sarah had spent extra time doing her own makeup, covering the shadows under her eyes, wanting to look the part of someone who belongs in such an establishment. Through the window, they can see well-dressed couples and families seated at candlelit tables. The maitre d' stands at his podium, his crisp black suit and perfectly styled hair embodying the restaurant's upscale atmosphere. Sarah takes a deep breath, squeezing Emily's hand for courage. The $20 tucked away in her emergency fund, combined with the saved tips, should be just enough for a modest dinner. She's calculated it carefully, including tax and tip. The moment feels fragile, balanced between hope and anxiety, as Sarah reaches for the heavy brass door handle. Neither mother nor daughter can imagine how this evening is about to unfold, or that their lives are about to intersect with someone extraordinary. The heavy door swings open, releasing a burst of warm air scented with garlic and rosemary. Sarah guides Emily inside, their footsteps muffled by the thick burgundy carpet. The maitre d', Marcus Thompson, glances up from his leather-bound reservation book, his practiced smile faltering as he takes in Sarah's waitress uniform and Emily's thrift store dress. Approaching the podium, Sarah speaks softly but clearly, requesting a table for 2. Marcus's eyes scan the restaurant, lingering on the business executives and well-heeled couples who fill most tables. He clears his throat, explaining that they're fully booked for the evening. Sarah's heart sinks as she looks around at several empty tables, their white tablecloths pristine and undisturbed. Emily tugs at her mother's sleeve, pointing to an unoccupied corner table. Sarah musters her courage, mentioning they'd be happy with any available spot. Marcus shifts uncomfortably, his voice taking on an edge as he suggests they might be more comfortable at one of the casual dining establishments down the street. The restaurant has grown quieter, nearby conversations dying down as other diners turn to watch the scene unfold. Emily clutches her backpack tighter, her earlier excitement dimming under the weight of curious stares. Sarah feels heat rising in her cheeks but stands her ground, explaining it's her daughter's special celebration. Finally, Marcus relents with visible reluctance, leading them to a table near the kitchen doors. The constant swing of servers and burst of kitchen noise makes conversation difficult. But Sarah forces a smile for Emily's sake. Their server approaches with obvious disinterest, barely making eye contact as she recites the specials. Emily's eyes light up at the mention of the spaghetti and meatballs, while Sarah carefully studies the prices, her stomach tightening at each number. When the server returns for their order, Sarah reaches for her carefully saved credit card, praying the transaction will go through smoothly. The next few minutes stretch like hours. The server returns, her face pinched with disdain, holding the card like it might contaminate her. The card has been declined. Sarah fumbles in her bag, knowing her emergency cash won't cover the meal, but desperate to try anything. Her fingers brush against crumpled bills as tears begin to blur her vision. Emily's small voice breaks through the humiliation. "It's okay, Mommy. We can go home." The pure understanding in her daughter's tone only makes the situation more heartbreaking. Several diners openly stare now, some whispering behind raised menus, others looking away in secondhand embarrassment. Marcus approaches their table, his expression stern. "I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to leave," he announces, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. "We can't have people trying to dine without proper payment." Sarah begins gathering their belongings, her hands shaking as she helps Emily out of the oversized chair. As they stand to leave, Emily drops her backpack, sending her prize math test fluttering across the floor. She scrambles to retrieve it, her small fingers reaching for the paper just as a well-polished shoe steps into view. The restaurant falls silent as a tall figure bends down to pick up the test, studying the bright red A+ with interest. Sarah freezes, recognizing the man's face from countless movies. Dressed simply in dark jeans and a black jacket, Keanu Reeves stands holding Emily's test, his expression unreadable as he takes in the scene before him. The maitre d's smug demeanor falters, and the watching crowd holds its collective breath, sensing that this ordinary Tuesday evening is about to become extraordinary. Keanu stands quietly for a moment, the A+ math test still in his hand, his dark eyes taking in every detail of the scene. The restaurant's usual buzz has faded to absolute silence, the kind that falls before something momentous occurs. He looks at Emily, then at Sarah, noting her trembling hands and the proud way she still holds herself despite her obvious distress. "Impressive work," he says softly, crouching down to Emily's level. His voice carries in the hushed restaurant, gentle and genuine. "What's your name?" Emily glances at her mother before answering, her voice barely a whisper as she introduces herself. Keanu smiles, the kind of smile that transforms his entire face, making him seem less like a Hollywood star and more like a kind stranger. Emily got all her multiplication tables right, Sarah explains, her voice stronger now, protective maternal pride overtaking her embarrassment. "It's why we came here tonight, to celebrate." The words hang in the air, a simple truth that makes the restaurant's earlier treatment seem even more cruel. Keanu straightens up, his expression shifting as he turns to face Marcus, the maitre d'. The change in his demeanor is subtle but unmistakable. Gone is the gentle man who spoke to Emily. In his place stands someone who has played heroes and knows how to become one in real life. "I'd like to speak with the manager," he says, his voice quiet but carrying an authority that brooks no argument. Marcus hesitates, his earlier smugness evaporating as he realizes the situation has spiraled far beyond his control. He disappears into the back, returning moments later with an older man in a suit. The restaurant manager, Anthony Chun, emerges from the kitchen, wiping his hands on a cloth. His eyes widen as he recognizes Keanu, then narrow as he takes in the scene. Sarah and Emily still standing awkwardly by their table, the watching crowd, Marcus's obvious discomfort. Keanu speaks in low tones with Anthony, his words meant only for the manager's ears, but his expression speaks volumes. He gestures to Sarah and Emily, then to the empty tables, then to the other diners. The manager's face shifts from defensive to shamefaced as the conversation continues. Finally, Anthony steps forward, clearing his throat. "Mrs. Martinez, please accept my sincere apologies for your treatment this evening. Your table is ready. The best one in the house?" He gestures to a corner booth, well away from the kitchen noise, with a perfect view of the restaurant's elegant interior. But Keanu isn't finished. He turns to Sarah, his kind eyes meeting hers. "If you don't mind some company, I'd be honored to join you and Emily for dinner. We should properly celebrate that A+. The offer is made simply, without condescension or pity, just one person reaching out to another." Emily's face lights up, while Sarah struggles to find words. "That's very kind, but—" She begins, her pride warring with the reality of her situation. Keanu gently interrupts, "Please. It would make my evening." The sincerity in his voice makes it impossible to refuse. As they settle into the booth, other diners trying and failing to hide their interest, Keanu asks Emily about her favorite subjects in school. She opens up gradually, her natural enthusiasm overcoming her shyness as she explains how she practiced her times tables every night before bed. The server who had earlier dismissed them now hovers attentively, taking their orders with exaggerated care. Keanu encourages Emily to order whatever she wants, and her eyes grow wide at the permission to choose the famous spaghetti and meatballs she's dreamed about. Sarah selects a modest pasta dish, still conscious of cost despite Keanu's obvious intention to pay. As they wait for their food, Keanu shares stories about his own school days, making Emily giggle with tales of his struggles with geometry. He speaks to her like a person, not a child, and to Sarah with genuine respect and interest in her life and challenges. The food arrives, steaming and aromatic, presented with flourishes that weren't part of the restaurant's usual service. Emily's face glows as she twirls her first bite of spaghetti, and Sarah feels tears pricking her eyes at her daughter's joy. Throughout the meal, Keanu deflects attention from himself, keeping the focus on Emily's achievement and Sarah's obvious dedication as a mother. His presence has transformed not just their evening, but the entire atmosphere of the restaurant. Other diners who had earlier looked away in embarrassment now smile warmly at Emily. And even Marcus, the maitre d', finds excuses to pass by their table, offering unnecessary but elaborate checks on their satisfaction. As the evening progresses, the transformation within Bella's bistro becomes palpable. The initial tension has melted away, replaced by an atmosphere of warmth and reflection. Keanu's simple act of kindness ripples through the restaurant, touching everyone present in unexpected ways. Anthony Chun, the restaurant manager, approaches their table again, this time carrying a specially prepared dessert, a towering chocolate cake decorated with "Congratulations" in delicate script. His earlier dismissive attitude has vanished, replaced by genuine remorse and a desire to make amends. He presents the dessert himself, explaining that it's on the house, while sharing that his own mother raised him alone while working 2 jobs. At nearby tables, other diners begin sharing their own stories. A businessman in an expensive suit mentions how his family once relied on food stamps. A well-dressed woman dabs at her eyes as she recalls her children's early years, when she could barely afford their school supplies. The restaurant, usually filled with impersonal business chat, transforms into a space of shared experiences and understanding. Emily, now comfortable in the warmth of acceptance, shows her math test to anyone who expresses interest. Her pride, temporarily dampened earlier, now shines brighter than ever. She explains her study techniques to a young boy at the next table, who listens intently while his parents smile encouragingly. Sarah watches this metamorphosis with quiet amazement. The weight of constant struggle, of never quite belonging, begins to lift from her shoulders. She sees her daughter not as the child of a struggling single mother, but as a bright young student celebrating her achievement, surrounded by people who recognize and celebrate her potential. Keanu observes it all with quiet satisfaction, occasionally adding to the conversation, but mostly letting the natural flow of human connection take its course. His presence has catalyzed something deeper than just a charitable act. He's reminded everyone present of their shared humanity. Marcus, the maitre d', undergoes perhaps the most striking change. His rigid formality cracks, revealing a person capable of compassion beneath the polished exterior. He brings Emily a special mocktail, decorated with a tiny paper umbrella, and shares that he too struggled with math as a child until a kind teacher helped him. The restaurant staff, taking cues from the changing atmosphere, begin treating every table with renewed attention and respect. The invisible barriers between servers and served, between those who belong and those who don't, start to dissolve. Even the kitchen staff peers out occasionally, drawn by the unusual warmth emanating from the dining room. As the evening draws to a close, Anthony approaches their table one final time. His voice thick with emotion, he announces that Bella's Bistro will be starting a new tradition. Every Tuesday evening will be Achievement Night, where families can come to celebrate their children's accomplishments, regardless of their ability to pay. The other diners break into spontaneous applause. Sarah tries to thank Keanu, but he gently waves off her gratitude. Emily earned the celebration, he says simply. I just helped remove an obstacle that shouldn't have been there in the first place. His words carry weight beyond their immediate meaning, touching on deeper truths about opportunity, dignity, and the artificial barriers society creates. Before they leave, Emily hugs Keanu impulsively. He returns the hug naturally, then pulls out a business card and hands it to Sarah. If you ever need anything, he says quietly, making it clear this isn't just a hollow gesture. Sarah accepts the card, understanding that sometimes accepting help is its own form of strength. The restaurant has transformed from a place of exclusion to one of connection. The white tablecloths and crystal glasses no longer seem like barriers, but simply beautiful things meant to be shared and enjoyed by all. As Sarah and Emily prepare to leave, several other diners discreetly approach Anthony, offering to contribute to future achievement nights. The final transformation occurs in the subtle shift of power dynamics. What began as a story of rejection and humiliation has become one of community and possibility. The very air seems different, charged with the recognition that true class has nothing to do with money and everything to do with how we treat each other. In the days following that remarkable evening at Bella's Bistro, the story of Keanu Reeves' kindness and its impact begins to spread through Los Angeles like wildfire. A diner who captured the moment on their phone shares the video online, and within hours, it goes viral. Social media explodes with hashtags like #BellasHope and #KindnessMatters, as people share their own stories of struggling to belong in a world that often judges worth by wallet size. Local news stations pick up the story, interviewing Anthony Fleming about the restaurant's new Achievement Night initiative. The coverage captures the heart of viewers across the country, inspiring similar programs in other cities. Restaurant owners from New York to Seattle begin implementing their own versions of Achievement Night, creating safe spaces for families to celebrate their children's accomplishments without fear or judgment. Sarah and Emily's story resonates particularly strongly with single parents. A group of local mothers starts a support network, helping each other with childcare, job searches, and emotional support. They name their organization Hope's Table, inspired by the transformative dinner at Bella's. The group grows rapidly, expanding to multiple chapters across California. Keanu's quiet intervention sparks a broader conversation about accessibility and inclusion in the restaurant industry. Several celebrity chefs, moved by the story, announce similar initiatives in their own establishments. Gordon Ramsay tweets his support and launches a program offering free cooking classes to underprivileged children. Wolfgang Puck creates a scholarship fund for aspiring chefs from low-income families. Emily's school experiences its own transformation. Her story inspires teachers to be more mindful of economic disparities among their students. The principal implements a new policy, ensuring all school celebrations are accessible to every family. Other schools in the district follow suit, creating a ripple effect of inclusivity in education. Local businesses near Bella's Bistro begin changing their practices too. The bookstore next door starts a study success program, providing free school supplies to children who show academic improvement. The ice cream shop across the street introduces Achievement Scoops, offering free treats to kids who bring in their good grades. The impact reaches corporate boardrooms as well. A major restaurant chain executives, touched by the viral story, review and revise their customer service policies. They implement mandatory sensitivity training for all staff members, emphasizing dignity and respect for all customers regardless of their apparent economic status. Bella's Bistro itself undergoes a complete cultural transformation. The Tuesday Achievement Nights become so popular that they extend the program to 2 evenings a week. Anthony Fleming creates a special fund, supported by anonymous donors and regular customers, ensuring that any family wanting to celebrate their child's success can do so without financial worry. Marcus, the former maitre d', becomes an unexpected advocate for change. He starts speaking at hospitality industry events, sharing how the experience changed his perspective on service and human dignity. His candid accounts of his own prejudices and transformation help other service professionals confront their biases. The media attention brings unexpected support for Sarah and Emily. A local community college offers Sarah a scholarship to complete her degree in education, something she'd abandoned when Emily was born. Several tutoring centers reach out to Emily, offering free advanced math programs to nurture her evident talent. Keanu's act of kindness continues to inspire random acts of generosity throughout the city. People begin paying for strangers' meals more frequently, leaving larger tips, and showing more patience and understanding towards service workers. The phrase, "be someone's Keanu," becomes a shorthand for unexpected kindness. 6 months after that pivotal evening, Bella's Bistro hosts a special dinner celebrating the impact of Achievement Night. Families who have benefited from the program share their stories, creating new connections and strengthening the sense of community. The restaurant, once known for its exclusivity, becomes famous instead for its inclusivity. The ripple effect extends beyond Los Angeles, as similar stories begin emerging from other cities. A businessman in Chicago, inspired by Keanu's actions, starts a foundation providing restaurant gift cards to struggling families. A restaurant owner in Miami creates a program specifically celebrating children who have overcome learning disabilities. The transformation proves that one act of kindness, witnessed by the right people at the right moment, can catalyze widespread change. The story becomes a case study in business schools, examining how corporate culture and community responsibility can align to create positive social impact. Even more meaningful than these larger changes are the countless small, unreported acts of kindness that continue to ripple outward from that evening. Each person touched by the story becomes a potential agent of change, creating their own ripples of compassion and understanding in their communities. A year after that transformative evening at Bella's Bistro, the restaurant has become a symbol of inclusive dining and community spirit. The original Achievement Night program has evolved into a nationwide movement, with hundreds of restaurants participating across the country. But the most profound changes can be seen in the lives of those directly touched by that evening's events. Sarah completed her first semester of college with honors, balancing her studies with a new position as community outreach coordinator at Bella's Bistro. The restaurant created the role specifically for her, recognizing her unique ability to connect with families coming in for Achievement Night celebrations. She no longer works double shifts at the diner. Instead, She helps other struggling parents navigate resources and opportunities she never knew existed before that fateful evening. Emily, now 8, has blossomed into a confident young mathematician. Her school nominated her for an advanced learning program, and she tutors younger students in math during lunch breaks. The initial A+ that sparked everything sits framed on Bella's Bistro's wall of achievement, alongside dozens of other proud academic accomplishments from local children. Anthony Fleming transformed Bella's Bistro into a model of community-conscious business practices. The restaurant now offers monthly workshops teaching financial literacy and business skills to aspiring entrepreneurs from underserved communities. Marcus, once the symbol of exclusivity, leads these workshops, sharing his journey from prejudice to enlightenment with disarming honesty. Keanu Reeves continues his quiet support from behind the scenes. Though he never sought recognition for his role in the transformation, he makes occasional unannounced visits to achievement nights, sitting quietly at the bar and watching families celebrate their children's successes. He established a foundation that provides matching funds to restaurants wanting to start their own achievement night programs, though he insisted it not bear his name. The most lasting impact, however, can be seen in the small moments. A child's face lighting up when entering the restaurant clutching a report card, a parent's relieved smile when learning about the Achievement Night Fund, the warm greetings that have replaced suspicious glances. Bella's Bistro has become more than a restaurant. It's a testament to how a single act of kindness, multiplied by community support, can reshape reality. One evening, exactly 1 year after their first visit, Sarah and Emily returned to Bella's Bistro. As they approached their usual table, no longer near the kitchen but in the same corner booth where Keanu first joined them, they passed the wall of achievements. Emily's original A+ math test hangs at eye level, its red mark slightly faded but still bright enough to remind everyone where this journey began. Above it, in elegant script, reads a quote, "Sometimes angels wear black jackets, and hope comes served with a side of spaghetti."